Welcome to Celebrity Exposé, Janet.
The highest paid performer of all time.
Oh, God.
So many millions sold, so many #1 hits. Now back with a new album and ready to reconnect with her fans.
A world tour, mid to end of summer. I'm really excited.
How she deals with the constant scrutiny of her weight.
And not to say that it's a bad question, but...
The highs and lows of growing up Jackson.
It hurt me. It still hurts when
It's my brother. I love him dearly.
Dealing with Michael in crisis.
Do you remember, Mike, what Michael said to you?
Janet's own battle with depression and anorexia.
the walls were just closing in on me.
The truth behind her Super Bowl scandal with Justin.
Did you realize that you had such a powerful breast?
We love giving y'all something to talk about.
And the collaboration you never knew about.
No, that's me.
The secret marriage in her past.
The fact that he has filed a lawsuit has really hurt you.
Let him leave. Move, out the way. Get out the way.
And the mystery of her love now.
He wants to marry you.
Oh, God. He said all of that.
All access, all Janet.
No, you did not.
Celebrity Exposé, Janet.
She comes from one of the most famous families in music. So how did the youngest member of the Jackson musical dynasty break out on her own? Hi, everybody, and welcome to Celebrity Exposé. I'm Tony Potts. You know, it's been 26 years since Janet first burst onto the solo scene with her self-titled debut album. And in those 2 decades, Janet has sold more than 100 million records worldwide. And with her enormous success, has also endured a Super Bowl scandal and a family crisis for brother Michael. But Janet has made it through it all, and this year re-emerged with a brand new album and a new body, creating an all-new Janet.
No, it's still me. I wouldn't have it any other way. I couldn't do it any other way. I still have to connect to it, and it still sounds like classic me, which everyone is talking about.
After 10 albums spanning 26 years, she simply is still Janet.
Hey, Janet, how you doing, girl? How you doing, Janet?
Janet and boyfriend Jermaine Dupri were swarmed by the paparazzi as they recently hit up Hollywood's posh night spot. It's called Foxtail. Janet entered the club stylish with a black hat as photogs vied for pics of the couple.
How you doing, girl? Back up.
As the two drove away, the paparazzi surrounded Jermaine's Range Rover, snapping more shots of Janet, showing us she still is the R&B diva.
Let him leave. Move, out the way. Get out the way.
Janet is coming off the release of her 10th studio album. It's called Discipline, released by her new record company, Island Records. She signed with Island in 2007, leaving Virgin Records after 16 years.
Is now the relationship different and better at Island Def Jam?
It's like it was, but still times 10 when I first got with Virgin. With the Island now, I love it. I've known LA since the early 90s.
Right.
We've been friends, and it's that sense of family, and they have that hunger and that excitement and
that's what you
that
need.
fire and that air, and I love that, and that's what I've always gotten, and I feed off of that.
Discipline is Janet's 6th #1 album, selling more than 181,000 copies in just its first week. The album was her first chart topper since 2001's All For You.
Is there going to be a tour connected with this album?
Yes.
Really? Tell me where the tour will
A world
start.
tour.
A world tour.
Mid to end of summer. And I'm really excited.
After canceling her tour for her 2006 album 20YO, Janet's more than eager to get back on the road in 2008.
Tour will take you on the road for about, what, a year? Possibly?
Possibly.
Oh, you get that look in your face like...
No, yeah, that's long.
Yeah.
I love it.
And while Janet is sure to reconnect with her fans on tour, there is one particular group that Janet is especially close to. After spending much of her life promoting equal rights for gays and lesbians, she was honored with the prestigious Vanguard Award at the annual GLAAD Media Awards.
It brings me a great deal of joy, really, is what it does, above and beyond anything, to know that I'm helping someone, that I'm helping an organization.
At 41, Janet hasn't skipped a beat when it comes to her music or her body, as she's looking as good as ever. But of course, recent news has been more about her fluctuating weight than her career. Needless to say, Janet doesn't have to explain anything.
Can we move on to something else? It's just really eating right. It really is. I'm not that I'm tired of the question. I just feel like I keep answering the question over and over again, and a lot of people have asked me the same thing. And not to say that it's a bad question, but it's just the way that you eat, really, and exercise.
And instead of talking about her weight loss, Janet will write about it. She teamed up with her trainer to pen a book about how she lost nearly 60 pounds. And Janet more than showed off her slimmed down physique in the music video for her hot single, Feedback.
So here's a demonstration. I'll be sure to learn about you.
Janet was moving her body in pure Jackson form as she wore a tight black body-fitting costume. She definitely was not hiding any of her sex appeal.
Why should you have to? If anything, it's stronger the older you get. I think you know more about it at that age than you do when you're actually a kid. You think you know everything about it. So why should you have to?
Janet didn't leave much to the imagination as she rocked the disciplined cover wearing not much more than leather gloves and an ever-so-thin top. She may not be trying to get noticed, but it's definitely, well, not working.
I don't know. You're just going to see me. I don't know. I don't know. It's just me. Look at, I can't even speak. It's just me.
Since 2001, there has been one constant in Janet's life, longtime boyfriend Jermaine Dupri. And every year comes the same rumor that the couple's secretly wed. So when is this couple finally going to make it official? And is Janet, who's been married twice before, willing to give marriage a third try?
Jermaine Dupri, he was quoted recently as saying that he is going to spend the rest of his life with you. He wants to marry you.
Oh, God. He said all of that?
He did.
That's always embarrassing me every time we get together. He knows how I feel.
That's my thing. See, when I talk to you, I have to embarrass you a little bit.
No, he knows how I feel.
He does?
Yes.
You're blushing. I think that says a lot.
Okay, next question.
Sorry about that, Janet, but you know, the world does want to know, when will Miss Jackson become Mrs. Dupri? We caught up with Janet in Paris as she promoted her 2006 album, 20YO. And of course, reports were already widespread about her rumored nuptials.
So, what's the one question they keep asking you while you've been on all your tours in Berlin and London? Is the one question that keeps coming up?
Am I getting married?
Oh, really?
No, when?
Gossip unfolds quickly, and it seems that Janet had already heard a little of it on her own.
So where did the rumours come from, the marriage thing? Because in London yesterday...
You guys.
No, it wasn't us. Because I flew into London yesterday to get to Paris. I opened the paper, and there it is. They even have the specific date, the 25th or the 26th of September.
26th, see?
Well, if we were the culprit, we had a very familiar accomplice.
I think Jermaine started that.
Did he?
Well, no. You guys actually started it. He was basically saying that's the date of the album.
Right.
And of the release of the album, and making kind of a joke about it and said I was kidding, but I don't think you guys played the I'm kidding part of it.
We cut that bit out.
Exactly.
The two have been dating since 2002. Janet, who is 6 years older, has been married twice before. The first time to singer James DeBarge in 1984, and then in 1991 to dancer Renee Elizondo. Jermaine has not walked down the aisle just yet, but maybe he will with Janet.
And we talked about the whole idea of, why do people get married, and would you do it again?
Would I do it again?
Well, if you do it again, it would have to be with this guy.
So you're going to be one of the ones that pressures us, huh?
No pressure here, and no pressure from Jermaine either.
I'm gonna just let her guide me into it, and that's just she knows better than me.
About when you're going to get married?
Experience takes over on this one, so she'll tell us when that's supposed to happen.
They keep their personal life private, and it's all about business for this power couple. Janet co-starred in Jermaine's 2005 video, Gotta Get You, which apparently he did, and Jermaine has helped produce Janet's last two albums, 20YO and Discipline.
And what about working with your boyfriend? Is he while in the studio, is he your boyfriend, Jermaine, or is he the producer, Jermaine?
We're all over the place.
Okay. What does that mean? Like in between the songs? There's a little loving going on in between each cut?
He's a producer. I'm an artist. We're boyfriend and girlfriend. But we get our work done.
But that still hasn't stopped the ongoing rumors that this working couple may have already tied the knot.
It's reports out that we married. It's a report out that
You know, it's probably a report that there's a baby somewhere. It's kind of reports is everywhere. They just make reports up every day.
And later, we'll introduce you to the first two men in Janet's life and why one of her marriages ended in a $10 million lawsuit. But first, 5 Grammys, 10 American Music Awards, and 10 #1 singles. But it was her dance-driven music videos which really turned Janet into a musical icon.
People always expect your videos to be one step ahead of everybody else. The way you do them.
They do?
Yeah. Well, I think people I talk to, and I know personally myself, when I hear that you have a video coming out, I'm like, okay, what is she going to do now? Because it always seems to be a step ahead, or you'll always do something very unique.
In typical Janet style, she showed us why her videos are the talk of the town. Miss Jackson invited me in for a behind-the-scenes look at her 2006 music video for her single, Call on Me. Dressed to kill, Janet danced in this Indian-inspired outfit while getting a few pointers from her man, Jermaine Dupri. And as always, Janet let us tag along for her much-anticipated performance at the 2007 opening of the Cove Atlantis in the Bahamas.
So it's been about 5 years since you performed.
5 years.
Nervous at all?
No, not at all. Excited. We're all excited.
Looking sexy as ever, she played up to the crowd, performing some of her old hits for the long-anticipated return of Janet. But it was at the age of 16 when her music career launched with A&M Records. Janet's 1982 debut album, self-titled Janet Jackson, hit #6 on the Billboard Hot R&B chart. And in 1984, Jackson's second album, Dream Street, was released and peaked at #19 on the R&B charts. After the limited success of her first two albums, Jackson's breakthrough album, Control, was released in 1986. She collected 6 top 100 hits, including her first #1 single, When I Think of You. In 1989, Janet's album Rhythm Nation 1814 became the first album in history to score #1 hits in 3 separate calendar years, with Miss You Much in 1989, Escapade and Black Cat in 1990, and Love Will Never Do Without You in 1991. 1991 began a new life for Janet. She signed a deal with Virgin Records, and in 1993, her self-titled album, Janet, reached #1 to become her 3rd straight chart topper. The album sold more than 10 million copies worldwide. In 1996, Jackson renewed her contract with Virgin Records for a record-breaking $80 million. Giselle Fernandez spoke with Janet in 1998 during her European tour about it.
The highest paid performer of all time.
Oh, God.
How do you deal with that?
How do I deal with it?
Yeah.
I don't think about that. I don't think about that at all.
Not the salary part of it. I'm not asking about that. I'm
Okay.
asking more you command that for your talent and what you do on stage.
Well, like I said before, I really don't think about that being the highest paid. I mean, really, that once... Well, wait a minute. I'm sitting here talking about being the highest paid. I guess once the deal was done, it was just done. And I went about my life like I normally do.
But during the recording of Jackson's 6th studio album, she suffered from depression and anxiety, which fueled the concept behind 1997's The Velvet Rope.
Writing the album, writing the music, the lyrics, singing the songs, that was very cathartic for me. So that was the beginning of the whole thing of freeing myself up, and it's been wonderful for myself.
Not only was Janet the highest paid performer, she was also the most talked about.
She's the best. She's the best. She's excellent. She's so good. She's so sweet. She's so sweet. She's just the best.
Janet, she's just great. She's got everything. Brains, brawn, sex appeal, beauty, the whole shebang.
Of course, the fans adore her. Then there are some who truly love her.
Tracy!
Her next album, All For You, was released on April 24th, 2001.
So everybody is talking that the album is going to debut at #1 already. How does it make you feel? Does it make you nervous?
No, it's exciting, but you never know. I mean, they're talking it, but that doesn't mean that it's really going to happen. It would be nice if it does, but we'll see.
The album debuted at #1, selling 605,000 copies, which was the highest first-week totals of Jackson's career.
Why did you want to do an album that is very sensual?
You know, I think more so than anything, I always write about what's going on in my life. And it reflects, once again, the space that I'm in. I never set out to say, okay, this is going to be a very sensual album. It's just about the ups and downs of love. And always writing about a life experience.
Coming up when Celebrity Expose returns, Growing Up Jackson.
It's just like this dark tunnel. And it was getting brighter and brighter.
How Janet dealt with her depression and feelings of inadequacy, and why her relationship with her father was strained. And later, where are the other 8 Jackson kids now, and how Janet feels about her famous older brother, Michael. Then, Janet's secret love child? Her family responds to the wild rumors. That's next.
And now it's time for your Celebrity Expose fact check question. Which R&B singer did Janet Jackson reportedly date in 1999? The answer in 2 minutes. Celebrity Expose fact check answer. Which R&B singer reportedly romanced Janet? In the spring of 1999, Janet was linked to New Edition singer Johnny Gill.
I think I am changing a little bit, but it's all for the better. I think a part of me will never change, though. I'll always be a kid. I'm just a big kid.
But the question is, how much of Janet's desire to remain a kid at heart has to do with the fact that she never had a real childhood? Welcome back to Celebrity Expose, everybody. I'm Tony Potts. You know, Janet began performing with her family at just 7 years old, but was she forced into the spotlight? No one will ever know. But one thing is for sure, for Janet, it was not easy growing up. Jackson?
When I was a kid, when I was 18, I wanted a big family. I wanted 12 kids. Because I grew up in a big family, and being with my brothers was the best time of my life.
To the outside world, Janet Jackson seems to have everything.
It's not about having everything, and that's what people have to understand. They think, oh, you can pay all your bills. What are you complaining about? It's not about that. I'm human just like the next person, and I have pain just like the next person.
And as a young child, Janet had one way of coping with that pain.
There's a brick wall and these bushes, and there was a little opening that the dogs had made. When it got too hot, they'd crawl in there to get in the shade, and I'd crawl in there with them, and I'd sit and I'd talk to them when I was feeling a little bit down. But when I think about it now, that was really my way of talking to God.
In 1998, while promoting the very personal Velvet Rope album and tour, Janet gave an intimate glimpse into Growing Up Jackson.
It's a very vulnerable, place to really be in. I mean, it's like cutting yourself open and exposing your insides to everyone.
How did you, or when did you, start defining who you were to yourself?
I realized that some of the things that I do, I knew I was doing it, but I would ignore it, like suppressing certain feelings and things like that. And certain things I was taught to do and thought, okay, this is the way life is supposed to be. And realizing, no, if I don't like it, then I can change it. This is my life. I don't want it to be this way. And I don't want to feel this way. So I'm in control of that, and I've got to do something about it.
And that something was learning to be comfortable in her own skin.
And getting to that point was a very difficult space for myself, and being comfortable with who you are and liking yourself for you and not what society says you're supposed to look like, how you're supposed to be, but being happy with yourself and what's inside.
Even if it meant disappointing her family.
I can't think about what is my mother going to feel, or that's something that she's going to have to deal with if she does feel a certain way from hearing me say this.
You talked a lot in the past about your father breaking away from him and becoming independent, and how he wanted you to call him Joe from a very young age, and how hurt you were by that. How does it affect a little girl, and the little girl that you always are, no matter how old you get, when the first man in your life has that relationship with you?
It's tough, though. As a child, like you said, the first man in your life to tell you, don't call me that.
Did you ever ask him why?
No, I never did. That was all I needed to hear. It hurt me. It still hurts when I think about it, and I still call him that to this day.
The pain Janet felt would eventually lead to battling and overcoming depression.
If you had to say it in one affirmation, the the thought, the affirmation that for you helped you climb out of that dark place? What was it? What was it that got you out of there?
It was that little tiny light of hope, really, is what it was. And sometimes I could barely see it. I could barely see it. And sometimes I felt like the walls were just closing in on me.
You just felt like it would never get better?
Yes, there were times when I thought this was it. This was it. And I thought I'd never get out of this. And I mean, it's just like this dark tunnel. And it was getting brighter and brighter, and eventually I got through it. But there were times when it would get very small again.
But the shy girl who was born in Gary, Indiana, learned to control and push her pain into her music.
It's the way that I see it. For the rest of my life, I will. And I will learn, continue to grow, hopefully.
In 2 minutes, the famous family, what the other 8 Jackson siblings are up to now, and what Janet says now about her famous brother Michael. Then, before Jermaine, Janet's 2 husbands revealed what Janet says now about her first marriage, and later, Janet's most embarrassing moment seen by 90 million people. Her reaction to the Super Bowl scandal coming up next.
Celebrity Expose Fact Check. In 1994, Janet became the only Jackson family member to ever be nominated for an Academy Award. The nomination was for her song Again from the John Singleton film Poetic Justice.
It just comes. Songs just kind of create themselves, so I don't want to dissect it really. I let it happen.
The most famous Jackson, Michael, describing how music comes to him. Welcome back to Celebrity Expose. I'm Tony Potts. Before little sister Janet was even born, Michael was spending his days as the lead member of the Jackson 5, and it was his sound that turned the Jacksons from Gary, Indiana, into the most famous musical family ever.
We're a very close family.
Janet grew up the youngest of 9 brothers and sisters.
We get together, and we are our brothers and sisters just like everybody else.
But unlike everyone else, the Jackson siblings are, of course, a musical dynasty.
We love music, and we grew up doing music.
We just move well together. It's just magic.
And behind that magic, a lot of talent and hard work.
We've been working together for a long time, and I think as brothers, we kind of feel each other on stage.
Randy, Jackie, Tito, Marlon, and Jermaine have continued to perform separately and as a group throughout the years. In 1976, the Jackson 5 changed its name to the Jacksons after leaving Motown. Jermaine remained with Motown as a solo artist before returning on the Victory album. In 1984, Michael left the group after the success of his solo albums Off the Wall and Thriller. In 2001, the brothers reunited for Michael's 30th anniversary special. They shot that in New York City.
Michael had a smile on his face that was unbelievable because he felt what we have been feeling all these years, is that it's there.
So who was not there at the concert? Baby sister Janet, who was on her own tour at the time.
It would be great to have the whole entire family, but I think Janet is doing so great by herself.
I had the pleasure to see her concert in Portland, and brought tears in my eyes because she was just so incredible on stage. See, that's my sister. She's just so great. She's amazing.
Who's this behind? Who with her head down? Oh, it's Rebe!
In 2007, 57-year-old Rebe and 51-year-old LaToya made a rare public appearance together to also see their little sister perform.
Yeah, and for all the sisters to get together, how special is that? It's fun. My mom is here. All the girls are together.
Rebe lives in Las Vegas and has, for the most part, remained retired from the music business since her 1998 CD, Yours Faithfully. LaToya estranged herself from the rest of her family after posing nude for Playboy in 1991, and also in 1993, when she publicly went against Michael after rumors of sexual molestation surfaced. However, by the late 90s, she ended her estrangement and, in 2004, supported him in the abuse scandal.
I think that if you keep things in a positive light, it makes everybody look better and everybody shines better. He's doing exceptionally well. I'm very happy and very proud, and we're all behind him 1,000%.
Now, LaToya's been working on a new CD titled Startin' Over for 5 years now. It's planned to be released this year. The rest of the Jackson clan has always supported Michael, especially the very outspoken Jermaine Jackson.
He is innocent. My brother is innocent.
100%.
1,000% innocent.
And Janet was also right by Michael's side during his trial and through all of the tabloid talk over the years.
I really don't pay attention to any of the stuff they... No, and I think a few years ago when I said we hadn't spoken to each other in a while, they took that and ran with it as if, well, there's animosity between us, and that's not what I meant. My family's just very different in that way. My mother's the magnet, and that's who we call, like, every week or every 2 weeks, and there's nothing going on. And honestly, it's my brother. I love him dearly.
And Michael has also always been supportive of Janet.
The times that we have spoken, he's given me words of encouragement for sure. He always has wonderful things to say to me, and I love most of all when we talk about how close we were and reminisce the childhood and all the things we used to do together.
The two have even worked closely together. In 1995, they collaborated on the hit single, Scream.
I like what we did with Scream. I mean, I love the video, and there's something very special about that.
And here is something that's not widely known. In her teens, Janet lent her voice to Michael's iconic album, Thriller.
Now, I heard a funny story.
What's that?
About you singing on PYT.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people don't know that. No, that's me.
On Pretty Young Thing.
No.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I was only, 16 years old?
Really?
Yeah, I never got my platinum plaque for that
that's
either.
right. Hey, we gotta
after
talk to Michael
25
about
years.
That. Did Michael ask you to perform on that song?
Yeah.
And the always appreciative Michael thanked his little sis by bestowing a nickname, Donk, saying her body resembled a donkey. How nice of a brother.
Do you remember, Mike, what Michael said to you? Did he say, hey,
It's
Daddy,
always a
the
thanks,
best?
Dunk. Thanks, Dunk.
That's it?
Yeah, thanks, Dunk.
Straight ahead, Janet's secret marriages after eloping with her first husband. Why Janet says she was too young and naive to be married. And why did Janet's second husband sue her for $10 million? Then, rumors of a secret daughter. Where did the allegations come from? And why is Janet's older sister, Rebe, involved? That's all when Celebrity Expose returns.
Celebrity Expose. Fact check question. Which screen legend did a 7-year-old Janet imitate during her family's Las Vegas act in the early 70s? The answer, straight ahead. Celebrity Expose. Fact check answer. Which screen legend did Janet imitate during her family's Las Vegas show? Janet imitated screen siren Mae West as part of a Jackson family stage act.
We just started going out more and more, and I don't know, it just happened.
That is Jermaine Dupri talking about his true love, Janet Jackson, and how they first got together. Welcome back to Celebrity Expose, everybody. I'm Tony Potts. You know, long before Jermaine met Janet, she did give marriage a try, twice to be exact, eloping at just 18 with singer James DeBarge, and later entering into a secret marriage with Renee Elizondo.
The first time I got married, I thought I could change him, and he asked me to marry him, and he felt I could change him, and he had some issues.
Janet was first married in 1984 at the age of 18 to childhood friend James DeBarge of the R&B family group DeBarge. But the couple quickly realized their marriage was not a match made in heaven.
I was very young, both of us, and very naive, and it wasn't for the right reasons, even though we were very much so in love. It was just not right.
The couple's union lasted just 3 months and ended in an annulment. But in 2005, more than 20 years after their split, rumors began to swirl that James and Janet had an 18-year-old daughter named Renee. DeBarge's youngest brother, Daryl, made the claims in a New York radio interview. Now, according to Daryl, Janet gave birth around the time she released her album Control, and her alleged daughter has been living with sister Rebe Jackson all this time. Now, Janet and brother Tito quickly denied any truth to this claim.
Janet don't have an 18-year-old kid. That's a big old rumor. And the Jackson family don't know where this kid is, neither do Rebe.
Janet's second shot at matrimony came in 1991 when she secretly married dancer Renee Elizondo. The couple's relationship did not become public, however, until 2000 when he filed for divorce. Janet addressed their relationship in her song Truth from her 2001 album, All For You.
It's truth. It's basically me thinking out loud and saying, look, we have our whole lives to live. Let's move on with this. Let's not sit here and harp in this negative space.
In 2000, Renee filed a $10 million lawsuit against Janet, claiming she broke a promise to split property they acquired before their marriage in 1991.
And I know that you've talked a lot about this, but the fact that he has filed a lawsuit has really hurt you.
It's really weird, and I sit here and I smile, I guess, because it's still painful. You still feel it. I never in a million years thought that this situation would be between the two of us at this very moment. Never. I always thought that he would continue to be one of my best friends.
In 2003, the divorce was finalized, but the settlement of the lawsuit was never made public.
There's someone that I'm kind of interested in, but we'll see. I don't want to talk about it because I
don't want to name names. I can understand.
I don't want to jinx anything.
And Justin may have been that person. The pair was romantically linked about the same time as this interview 6 years ago. But even then, they had a history. In Sync was the opening act on Janet's 1998 Velvet Rope tour. Justin said the romance rumors ignited when the two collaborated on his solo album, Justified.
How about that? 4 years ago, you were the youngest kid in NSYNC, picking up the phone, calling Janet Jackson. What? I mean, it's a great...
Yeah.
Justin Timberlake's on the phone, and she comes right to it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's cool. It's cool. I mean, we're friends, so if she ever asked the same of me, I would gladly do it. She's a wonderful person, and I love how she works in the studio.
Coming up when Celebrity Expose returns, Janet's media firestorm, while she calls her Super Bowl incident her most embarrassing moment ever. Then Janet breaks out on screen, how she feels now about her very first acting role. And later, Janet's loyal fans rewarded. It's Janet Pandemonium in Paris. It's next.
Celebrity Expose Fact Check Question. When Janet was younger, what profession did she want to enter into when she grew older? The answer in 2 minutes. Celebrity Expose Fact Check Answer. What profession did Janet want to be when she was younger? In 1998, Janet revealed when she was younger, she wanted to enter law school.
I have to be who I am. I have to be me in the end.
That was Janet back in 2004, 2 months after her overexposure at the Super Bowl. Welcome back to Celebrity Expose, everybody. I'm Tony Potts. You know, it certainly wasn't easy being Janet in the media firestorm that followed.
Did you realize that you had such a powerful breast?
Honestly, that's the embarrassing thing. To know that, 90 million people saw your boob. That was embarrassing. Then to see it blown up as big as a
We love giving y'all something to talk about.
Yes, it certainly was something to talk about when Justin Timberlake removed part of Janet's costume, exposing her right breast to 90 million people.
Are you upset with Justin Timberlake?
I'm not going to answer that. I think Justin and I probably maybe need to talk. I know we talked before all of that happened, and we've been friends, and we called him to see how each other was doing with the whole situation, and we haven't spoken since other things have happened since then, so.
Because you still remain friends.
At some point, he and I need to talk.
That pause said it all. Actor Jamie Foxx, meanwhile, wasn't as subtle.
I didn't appreciate when Justin Timberlake went on and he sissied out and he said, hey, I didn't know anything about it. I think that was not cool because if that's really your friend and if it's really about art, then you say, hey, we made just a small mistake.
But despite public apologies from both Janet and Justin, it was Miss Jackson who took most of the heat.
Of course, it's like another female takes the heat for, doing something racier or risque. But of course, it's the whole double standard. But I mean, my God, it's, they've said their piece about it. They've apologized and enough already.
The FCC was inundated with thousands of complaints and slapped 20 CBS-owned TV stations with fines totaling $550,000. And CBS demanded an on-air apology from Janet and Justin. But Janet refused. Justin seemed to escape the scandal unscathed, going on to win a Grammy the following week and booked 4 movies, while Janet's career hit a wall when, after the scandal, Lena Horne reportedly no longer wanted her to portray her in a film.
And it's her life story that's being portrayed, and she has the right to choose.
Janet's family and friends, though, chose to stand by her side.
All of my family called me, gave me words of encouragement to keep my head up and to stay strong.
Y'all lucky I ain't pull out something. Lucky I ain't flash something.
Well, definitely not Janet's best on-screen moment. And luckily for her, her career in front of the camera has not suffered since the Super Bowl scandal. But it was back in 1977 when a then 10-year-old Janet first got bit by the acting bug, playing Penny Gordon on the popular 70s sitcom, Good Times.
No, you did not.
That is Little Miss Janet in the 70s, already hamming it up for the camera, impersonating Mae West. Janet was in awe as Access Hollywood's Sean Robinson brought back precious memories.
I was 8 years old, 9 years old. I was doing my Mae West
born
impression.
performer, weren't you?
I don't know. Look at that hand. What's that hand doing? And look at that stomach.
Look at those hands on her hips. The youngest of 9 showbiz siblings, she made certain she stood out.
1977.
That's about 8 years old. Look at that. Good times.
Now, aside from her family, Janet's breakout acting job was in 1977 on the 70s sitcom Good Times.
Times, what memory sticks out in your mind most?
Being just a baby, going into this whole new world without my family, and them embracing me and becoming my second family.
Then in 1980, tens of millions were introduced to babyface Janet when she started her recurring role in the hit sitcom Different Strokes as Willis's girlfriend, Charlene, which led to her role as Cleo on the TV show Fame in 1984.
I think it's been 20 years since Fame.
It's been 20 years. That's crazy.
In 2004, Janet returned to TV as a guest star on Will and Grace, turning It's into a classic episode.
Janet's coming, and please don't make a big fuss. It's not her style.
Were you a fan of the show?
Definitely. I mean, it's just a hilarious show. Jack is trying out as a dancer. That's really what it is. I find myself cracking up in rehearsals when I'm supposed to be in the scene.
Janet admits to being extremely shy, but exuded her inner actress and stole the show with natural comedic timing.
Great entrance!
Thank you. Costs a little extra, but I make up for it by having all of you guys pay for your own costumes. Can you start the music, British guy? I think I want 5 dancers instead of 6, which means one of you has to go.
She has made her mark in TV history as a pop sensation with 6 #1 albums and a movie star with 3 #1 movies. 1993's Poetic Justice, Nutty Professor 2 in 2000.
Now, Dad, this movie has some little racy humor.
Yeah.
You think you'll be able to take it?
Well, I've heard it.
Nothing he can't handle.
And in 2007, Tyler Perry's Why Did I Get Married, for which she won the NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Supporting Actress.
This means so much to me, this award, because it's the first award that I've ever gotten for acting, and this is my first love, my first job before music.
Was the title of this movie hitting a little too close to home for you?
I don't think I ever asked the question. Maybe that's where I went wrong. I should have.
You know, Janet's been married twice, and she has a good sense of humor about the mistakes she's made in her life, and that's the rule she lives by. An outlook that keeps her career thriving.
You know, there must be some great comfort in being able to laugh at yourself and laugh at, things that happen. And
You know, I think it's really important not to take yourself too seriously. I really do. That's really important.
All right, coming up, Janet Pandemonium in Paris, evading paparazzi, followed by fans. It's our all-access pass to a day in the life of Janet Jackson. And later, Janet's staying power, why she compares herself to Madonna and Mariah. That's all when Celebrity Expose returns.
Celebrity Expose Fact Check Question. After Justin's and Janet's infamous wardrobe malfunction, what award show allowed Timberlake to perform but asked Janet to withdraw from presenting? The answer in 2 minutes. Celebrity Expose Fact Check Answer. After Justin's and Janet's infamous wardrobe malfunction, which award show allowed Justin to perform but asked that Janet not attend? 1 week after the scandal, Janet was asked to withdraw from an appearance at the Grammys, where she was to deliver an award to Luther Vandross.
I just write about what's going on in my life and how I'm feeling at the moment and where I am at that time.
Obviously, a method that has certainly seemed to work for Janet over her 20-plus year career. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Celebrity Expose. I'm Tony Potts. You know, throughout Janet's evolution from a Jackson child to solo star, her fans have been behind her the entire way, and we found out firsthand just how loyal they really are.
Janet Jackson has visited 3 countries in 24 hours, traveling several thousand miles, but these guys still tracked her down.
I've had to ask about the fans because they seem to be getting more and more of them.
There's no denying that Janet has fans all over the globe, and you can see in her eyes that she has love for them all.
I love the kids here. And in Europe, all of Europe, they're very, very loyal and very loving.
And very alert. Though she secretly slipped out the back door of her hotel, fans still spotted her riding in a van through the streets of Paris.
Never be the same, but girl, you came.
This is like American Idol.
Yeah, but he will, if we stop it, he'll catch up. I mean, the kids here in France, they always do that.
You're right, he's running. 89.
Yeah.
He's been running behind your car since 89.
Yes, fans even went so far as to track Miss Jackson down as she visited the high-end boutique Colette for a little shopping R&R.
Do you find that you can, just by all the fans that are standing around watching you, do you find that it's something that you can't just go out and shop normally? Or can you put a baseball cap on and disappear?
Well, you do, but that doesn't mean that you won't get caught.
Luckily for her fans and the music biz, Janet plans on sticking around for a little while longer.
This is a youth-orientated record industry where lots of youngsters buy the records. But there's certain people like Madonna, Mariah, and you that seem to be able to surpass all that. Why do you think that's possible?
I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people that would like to kind of write us off and have us out of the equation, but I think it's the love for music. If you're a fan of music, you will evolve as music does, and you still have the drive within you to continue, and the inspiration from music and from fans. You'll continue to do what you do.
Well said. And you know, it is that determination and willingness to change that has kept Janet at the top of her game for more than 20 years. But that's not all. Janet has also shown she's a survivor. From a young age, she fought to create an identity separate from her famous brothers and sisters. And she also managed to be loyal through Michael's trial and remained steadfast and confident through her own scandal after the Super Bowl. She is a true diva, and something tells me it will be a while before we hear the last from Janet Jackson. Goodbye, everybody, and I'll see you next time on Celebrity Exposé.